Yes, us. How are we going, folks? We're preparing this garden bed. Got the mulch ready. These are the leftover seedlings from the other beds. And you saw the other day we're talking about broccoli, cauliflower. These have been left out there in the open, not enough water. Vasily, you're killing your seedlings. Anyway, they'll come good. So just put them out of the way for now. We've got broccoli, lettuce, we've got pak choi, we've got cabbage, cauliflower. They're all going in here somehow, somewhere. And all right, we've got to cut these back. I keep talking about cutting these back and I haven't. Look at this, they're sprouting up. This was sitting on the surface. Look at that. I've just thrown a little bit of soil like that and it's sprouting up. This is what I mean by cut the tops off and the bottoms will start to come up again. And this is what they need. So you know what? They have to come out. They're just in the ground for protection for now. Look, see the new shoots coming up? Like your typical spring onions, you get multiple harvests out of these, and we're talking dozens upon dozens of harvests out of these. These are garlic chives, for those who don't know what I'm holding here in my hands, and I've got heaps of them. I had one little clump, and over the last couple of years, they've turned into about a dozen clumps. Get the hoop out of the way, and the basil's done. Oh, geez, it's got a good root system in it. Should I leave it in? No, it's going to die off. It has died off anyway. Okay, come out. I could leave it in there, let it decompose, but it's only one little plant. You know, we speak about, letting it decompose and the microbes feed off and it becomes organic matter and blah, blah, blah. That's all good, but it's only a couple of plants. I can probably just throw them in the middle there, but there'll be interference because I want to fill out this whole garden bed. Now, these are some garlic that came up on their own in another bed and I transplanted them here. And at the end of the day, I'm not happy with where I planted them, but they're going to stay there for now. I'm not going to move those, but I am going to move the garlic chives, these ones here. So they're just sitting in there. All right, so what are we going to do with this bed? This is the original soil that I placed in here a few years ago. What we're going to do, for starters, is get rid of this cooch. Look at that, sprouting up a couple of weeds. So we got rid of those. So we haven't added anything into this for at least a year, or not a year, from August last year. So 9 months at least. We had some tomatoes growing in here. We had the basil, the nasturtium still going. And the other day we planted feverfew, our little perennial in there. That's going to die back slowly over the course of winter and it'll come up again. The irrigation, I'll quickly touch base on this again. This is one bed that I've done, and this is an example of what you've got to do, or I've got to do basically, with all my beds. And that's put equal rows across one side to the other, so we get an equal spread of moisture coming through. I'm just lifting it up because I'm going to add more soil on top. And see that there? Now, whether I plant here, anywhere, I've got an even spread of moisture coming through, dripping through there. Ideally, when you do plant, you plant right next to the drip line of the drip hose. Now what I mean by drip line is the hose itself has holes in it at every 30 centimetre intervals. Let me find one for you. If you can zoom in on that there. Now that little hole emits about 2 litres. It can be from 1.2 to 2.2 and a bit litres of water per hour. So if you turn the irrigation on, based on the water pressure you have obviously, this should be able to release about 2 litres of moisture or water per hour. So by planting right next to this little hole, you're guaranteeing the seedling will get its water. You don't have to sit there hydrating it. Now the benefit of a drip system is that the water is emitted slowly by drip. So there's no high water pressure and runoff going on. It'll soak like an old dry sponge and hydrate again, the soil that is. So when you're hydrating an old sponge, it takes a few goes and a bit of time for the moisture to start to transfer across to the entire sponge itself, horizontally as well. And you'll find that that way you're getting a deep watering. So 1 hour generally is okay once the ground is hydrated. But to initially hydrate the garden bed, you need to probably leave the irrigation on for 2 or 3 hours to start with to get a decent moisture release and hydration. Now at every 30 centimetres, we've got 2.5 metre bed there, so divide that by 3, 8 3s are 24, take off a few of the ends. We've got about 20 holes. Am I right in saying that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 holes. What am I saying, 20? I've got to go back to school, don't I? Maths. Used to be a good number for me, or subject. 10 holes, which means 10 plants across each row. So we can do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plants in this garden bed. Probably more, because you don't have to plant right next to each hole, and depending on the size of the plant. And you don't have to go in this direction either. So because it's equally divided in 30 centimetre lots, or approximately, you can plant in this direction in rows. So for example, in here, we can put some broccoli again, because they grow large, they need the space. And we can only probably get 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5, because they need about 40 to 50 centimetre space around them for good air circulation. Whereas in this little section here, we could do some cos lettuce, and we can get 1, 2, 3, 4 plants easily, maybe 5 if we like, and another one over here. And then we can come over here, and what do we got there? We've got some pak choi, so we could do 2 rows of pak choi here quite comfortably. So one gets attacked and all the others are nearby, so they can eat everything at once. And then over here we can put a row of cauliflower, and then over here we've got cabbage, yeah, and some cabbage here as well. And then we can put our chives on the outside, or we can actually dot our chives in between. Remember that? All right, let's fill it up, because we're going to bury the irrigation. And then we're going to plant. Let's do it. I'm starting off with cocoa pit, folks, rather than straw this time. I'm going to put about 5 bags in this garden bed. Now I'm going to top it up with our planting mix, folks. It's got everything you need. This stuff's available on our website, and a couple of garden centres are stocking it. Check out our stockers page on the planting mix. But the best buy is obviously click and collect from our Lethbridge site. Order it online and come down and pick it up, say hello, and I might even take you for a little tour if I'm around. Can't promise you, but so get some planting mix into your garden and everything will thrive. Now when it comes to irrigation and watering, always do a bit of research on your plant life, or the varieties that you're planting together, because not all plants require the same amount of watering. In the case of the brassicas, like collies, cabbages, broccoli and all that, they are very similar, even lettuce. They require equal amounts of water and good drainage, obviously. But there are other cases where in flowering beds, for example, you'll find some plants, because you'll have some plants that are going dormant, like your irises, for example, and then you've got roses planted around them as well, or hebes at the same time. And things that are going dormant don't require that amount of water, because it could cause a bit of rot to develop, whereas other plants that are actually thriving, like azaleas at this time of the year, and camellias, that need water, they've got to be irrigated well. So make sure that when you do some companion planting, do a bit of research and see if they like the same soil conditions and the same amount of moisture. Otherwise, you'll start to have problems, especially with succulents. We all know that. Succulents require very little water, and you don't plant it next to something like an nasturtium that needs to be watered almost every day. So a little bit of research before you irrigate and when you're planting as well. And a light layer of our bean straw. This is only available as a click and collect as well from Lethbridge, folks, so if you're looking for it, garden centres haven't got this, and I don't think we're going to be getting it out to the garden centres, but you could definitely get it from us on the website. Alright, so we've done our icebergs here on the end, mini icebergs, cauliflower, pak choi, broccoli, 2 rows, and red cos lettuce over there, and we've still got some left over. So there's 5, 10, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 37, plus some garlic over there, and we've got nasturtium in that. We said about 50 plants. I might dot it in, like in this corner here, a little bit of chives over here, and we'll be right. So folks, this is how you do it. Don't be afraid to get out into the garden. And it doesn't have to be a raised bed, it can be pot plants on the balcony as well. In this day and age, the way things are, and the price of food going through the roof, and it's not even bloody good for you, you know all that, because a lot of this stuff is just heavily, induced or sprayed with for protection against pests and diseases. So the amount of chemicals that go into growing this on the industrial level, on a farming level, and all due respect to the farmers, we've said that before, but the end result is the big chain stores want it in a certain way, and that's bacterial free, good and bad, taken away. And that doesn't talk about, you know, the chemical inducement that goes on into there and that they carry through. So grow your own. The nutritional density is by far greater than anything you buy. Obviously, if you're swapping with your neighbours and friends and family, you'll get the equivalent of quality, and if you can't grow everything yourself. But on a balcony, you know, you may have a 4 metre wide balcony and you can put a row of pots there, whether they're planter boxes or even just individual pots. You can have 40 or 50 different plants growing in there. Not all at the same time either. Intermittent planting, just buy the little advanced seedlings, or if you've got seeds of your own, just sprinkle them in there. And if you've got too many growing at once, you can harvest the smaller ones and use them as microgreens. There's more nutrition in the microgreens and in the full-blown plant sometimes. So think about that, so you can thin out as they grow and leave the stronger ones to fully develop while you're enjoying a few microgreens as a garnish over your meal that you're having. Homegrown is better than anything you buy, and if you can collect your seeds from it, by all means, you'll have even a better crop the following season because they are climatised to your garden and habits and microclimate as well. My little veggie garden, there's lots of it now. So just sit back and watch this amazing journey as we grow our home food for us to enjoy in the kitchen, and we'll share some great recipes as well. For all the wonderful products that you need to be able to grow just as good as this stuff here is going to grow, that's our superfood and black grit. You can't go anywhere else but on our website, vasili'sgarden.com, or at your local garden, independent garden centres as well. Support them, support us, and we'll support you. From me, Vasili, Maresi.